Hi, I'm Jason Levi Thurman, and today I'm going to be talking about my interview with Trever Dixon. I am a media communications major with a double minor in digital media and radio, TV, and film, and my goal is to one day work in sports media. So for this assignment, I decided to look for an entrepreneur in this field that I hope to one day work in. Trever Dixon is someone who I've followed for quite a while, and I've always admired his work and growth in the realm of sports graphic design. He runs his business TDmadeit, in which he offers up his services in graphic design or photography. Trevor's been able to build up his brand and reputation over the past few years, and he's crafted the slogan "Visualizing Your Journey" that he believes perfectly encapsulates his brand.
My slogan is visualizing your journey, and that's basically just saying, like I do design work, I do photography work, so you can, see yourself, you know, making big plays or making big decisions, such as committing to a school or having a big game where I can make a graphic where you hit 1,000 career points or something like that, right?
Something that Trevor has tried to focus on when going about marketing himself or his brand is being detail oriented. He told me that he likes to pay close attention to his craft and make sure that he is hitting all the points that his clients need from the work he is doing for them. Having the client in mind is very important to Trevor and the success that he's been able to achieve. He wants to make sure that the client is getting what they paid for and make sure it's done in a timely manner. For Trevor, not only is his brand important, but the brand of his clients is also important. He spends the time getting to know their brand so that he can give them his best work. Trevor also told me that setting yourself apart from the competition is very important to building a successful brand. It's a competitive industry, so you have to give possible clients a reason to choose you over the competition. Trevor's target demographic is schools, both college and high school, and the athletes that play for them. These schools and athletes are trying to market themselves and use social media to their advantage, and graphics and photography are the central way they do this. Trevor makes graphics and or takes pictures for these schools and athletes, and social media is the best way for him to connect and find these new clients. Trevor is constantly on the lookout for new opportunities and using specifically Instagram to do so. Pricing can be a difficult aspect of Trevor's business. He wants to make sure that he's getting paid enough for his time and work, but also wants to make sure that the client is getting a good product for a fair price. Sports graphic design and photography is also a very competitive industry, so your price can be the reason that the client chooses to hire you or goes with someone else. However, it's important to know your worth. Trevor said that generally the pricing he comes up with is a flat rate that depends on what the client wants and how long it will take them to complete. He has to make sure that the price reflects all of these things. This leads us to networking. Networking can be both online and in person, and both have their advantages and disadvantages. Trevor has been able to utilize both to his advantage, but his first major in person connection that he made was through a student organization at ETSU that he helped make graphics for. While he did not get paid during this partnership, it was pivotal in helping him get his foot in the door in the industry, attributed doing free work in the early stages toward his late down the line success.
I remember I started out doing free work, um, a lot of free work, reaching out to people, doing a lot of free work for them. But like I said, now they reach out to me and I get to charge them what I feel, is what I'm worth. And
Sometimes in the beginning, you have to do the work for free as a way to market yourself, and if you do good work, the person that you do it for is more likely to use you in the future and actually pay or recommend you to others. Online networking is the biggest way that Trevor has been able to find clients and build his brand. Trevor says without his presence on social media, he wouldn't have any clients. Trevor has amassed 1,800 followers on Instagram, and this has been a result of hundreds of hours of building those connections, of following people and then following back, and just making interactions on social media. Instagram is his only presence in the industry, and so that is how he connects with the clients and potential partners. His presence has grown a lot in the past 2 years, and it's grown the most specifically this year. Trevor stated that he's gotten about 800 to 900 followers this year alone, and it continues to grow, and he's very proud of his Instagram page and all the work that he's put into it. Being verified on Instagram has helped him to get a lot of organic growth and connections through this time period. People tend to trust the check mark, and it's just another way for him to stand out. This is actually something that Trevor pays for, and he believes it's been a very beneficial business expense for his networking and growth, and most of his organic growth over the past year has come as a result of it. Recently, Trevor has gotten a huge opportunity through a connection that he made through social media. The connection was made through DMs on Instagram, and it has given him the opportunity to do graphics for Albertville High School basketball in Albertville, Alabama, while also doing the entire branding page for Concord Christian's men's and women's basketball. He's also gotten the opportunity to do graphics for the U.S. Elite Baseball, which is a travel baseball team in the area that goes across the entirety of the United States. This connection has also led to a few other small jobs for that client that he connected with. Risk management is a very hard aspect of having a business. You have to weigh the cost and the benefits of many of your decisions, and there's often a risk when making these decisions. Trevor has a wife and a son that he provides for, so the decisions that he makes doesn't only affect him. His wife is currently a stay-at-home mom, and so he also bears the sole financial responsibility for his family. So taking the risks can be a lot harder for him as well, especially when he's the only one in the business, since it's his business solely and he's the only one working in the business. So no one else is taking any of the responsibility for these decisions. It's all on him. And when I asked him about how he goes about handling these risks, he told me that two instances came to mind. The first instance was when he decided to drop out of college. He had graduated from Northeast State with an associate's degree and planned on continuing his academic career at ETSU. He hoped he would graduate from there with a bachelor's degree in graphic design. However, the cost of school, paired with the amount of time it would take to graduate, became very difficult for him to justify. And he had to weigh the benefits of staying and dropping out of school during this time. He ultimately ended up deciding to drop out of school because he didn't believe that the financial burden and the time investment was worth it. And by dropping out, it gave him more time to work at his full-time job and also build his business and get better at graphic design. Another instance of him having to manage a potential risk was recently when he chose to drop a day at his full-time job to put more attention on the graphic design work that he was doing. Because of him having a family to provide for, this was a massive risk.
Risk is how you're gonna make it in the business, and I think you kind of have to bet on yourself, and hopefully it'll pay off for you. But you know, it could hurt you long term, especially in my situation. I have a family to think of. I really need to make sure my risks are very calculated.
However, Trevor has been able to get enough money recently from his business to where he can justify working less at his full-time job and focusing more on the business at large. Motivation is an important part for Trevor and his success, and he wouldn't be as successful as he is in the industry if he wasn't motivated and didn't enjoy what he does. His family also plays into this motivation, and wanting to succeed for them has helped him to push to be better. He's passionate about what he does, and I think that this is a very good reason to look to Trevor as an inspiration for creating a business. If you don't like what you're doing, it's going to be very hard to go that extra mile. And if you don't go the extra mile, you're way more likely to come up short. You also need to just be willing to bet on yourself. And if you do that and put in the work to achieve your goals, it's going to be much more likely that it's going to actually be something you could achieve. It's about having the right mindset in these situations and not just going into things expecting it to work out or it to be easy. In entrepreneurship, not everything's going to be easy. In fact, most of the time it's going to be hard. But when you put in the work like Trevor and take the time to get where you're going to get, like Trevor's done, uh, it's going to be much easier. And this stems from Trevor's passion and motivation to be the best that he can be. That's where a lot of his success has come in everything that he's done. Resources are an important part of Trevor's business. He needs these resources for his business to succeed and to run properly.
I was actually blessed enough to be able to earn enough side money here just off of some stuff I was doing earlier this year to upgrade my PC setup. I edit everything on a PC. A lot of people like to use laptops, but I just find that a PC is just better for what I like to do. Um, so yeah, I mean, essential number one is probably the PC, right? I mean, that's where I do my work, and for the second thing for design really is just Photoshop. And those are the only, honestly, the only two things you need. My PC was $800, and Photoshop is about $10 a month. So I mean, it evens out to where it's a very low cost to get into for me, very low upkeep, and I'm able to, whenever I'm making money off these gigs, I'm able to profit all of that. So that's huge for me. A lot of other businesses, you're gonna have to buy product to sell, so you're taking a loss there. So yeah, I mean it's just, for me it's all profit. And on the photography side, I obviously I use a camera, obviously. But my camera was about $800, and then my lens, I have two lenses. They were both $100 each. So I put $1,000 into that. But with all the work that I've done, I think I've profited off of photography at this point, and that's something I'm gonna need to upgrade in the near future. Um, but it's been enough to get me started over the course of about a year. I've only been doing photography for about a year, so. But yeah, it's really low cost. I edit my pictures on Lightroom. It's also $10 a month. So everything is very low cost, very low upfront. Only about $20 a month to keep everything going.
The cost of Trevor's resources is mostly upfront, but is relatively a low cost when you think about the grand scheme of the business. $800 is kind of a steep price, uh, or $1,000 for camera is kind of an expensive price. But when you think about the fact that that's a one-time payment that is going to last for a very long time, and the profits are going to eventually be higher than that initial cost, it makes it worth it. And because Trevor only has to pay for Photoshop and Lightroom continually, it's only about a $20 a month expense over time, which in the grand scheme of things is not that bad. Um, he can sustain his business at a low cost because of this, and this makes the profit higher, and it also leads to Trevor being able to upgrade these resources in the future.
Yeah, so honestly, for design, I don't really have anything that I really need to get since I just upgraded my PC. Um, Really, there's not a whole lot to get on that front. There's a lot of, there's like texture packs. There's like stuff you can buy, like assets you can buy that would be cool, but they're very low cost. And that's something I could afford right now. I just don't necessarily need, because there's a lot of that stuff is free elsewhere. And then on the photography side, there's plenty I can upgrade on that. Really, photography is one of those things where you can have an eye for it, all you want, but a lot of it is you pay to get the best equipment, and your pictures will look good. Um, there's very little on the, I don't know. Creativity is huge in photography, but you can have a good camera and very little creativity, and your photos are gonna look amazing. So yeah, for me, it's upgrading my camera body, which is gonna be about $1,000 to $1,500. Upgrading my camera lens, which is going to be another $1,500. So I mean, you're looking at about $2,000 to $3,000 right there worth of stuff that I would like to have for photography. Just because I would like to get more into it. It's not my number one thing right now in my business. It's more design, and photography is more for fun. I'm still getting paid from it though, but uh, yeah, I mean that's in the future. I think I'll be getting a tripod here soon, so I can do some video for basketball and stuff this basketball season. But Yeah, for photography, it's really just upgrading that camera body and that camera lens. I'm I'm I will I'm definitely going to be setting aside some of this design fund that I'm getting to save up for that lens I can get next fall.
Intangible resources are also a very important part of the success of a business. Reputation was number one on Trevor's list of intangible resources that he values in his business. He wants to be known as the best in the business in this area, and having a good reputation leads to better business and more clients. This is mostly due to the fact that people who view Trevor's business in a positive light are more likely to use him as their graphic designer, as well as be more likely to refer him or refer other clients to him for future work opportunities. Trevor wants his reputation to be based off his detail oriented attitude, as well as being very timely in the work that he's commissioned to do and being punctual. He also wants people to take him seriously in the business, and that only happens if he is professional and has a reputation as someone who conducts his business in that manner. Another key intangible resource that he brought up was inspiration. Pinterest has been a very valuable place for him in this regard, and he gets a lot of his inspiration from the app.
Pinterest is actually huge. You wouldn't really think Pinterest is a it's more it more has a reputation for you know moms. I would say gardening, baking, whatever how like whatever decorate decor or whatever. Uh, it's been Pinterest has been bigger than Instagram for me as far as finding inspiration goes. There's limitless designs on there, and they're all very high level. I think my design board has over 1,000 pins on it right now. So I spend a lot of time on Pinterest. I think I spend over an hour a week on Pinterest. So
Because Trevor's business requires a lot of creativity on Trevor's end, he needs to constantly be looking for inspiration. And without inspiration, it's much harder for him to complete the high level work that he wants to for his clients. Trevor says that he's always trying to challenge himself and evolve in the world of graphic design and photography and sports. He doesn't want to be stuck to just one art style or have a final product that just feels like he's producing the same thing over and over again. He wants his designs to feel fresh, but also feel professional. Using Pinterest, he often looks at designs on there to get inspiration on ways to experiment with his work. He'll look through and look at stuff that he generally wouldn't want to make himself or just a new point of view on how to tackle graphic design. Even if it isn't a way that he generally likes doing things, he'll still look for ways to learn from that. He thinks that he's better at a more professional style, um, but he still tries to challenge himself uh, in trying to adapt and just evolve through this. The style that he likes doing the most, though, is the style of most athletic pages, which is just a more professional style. He wants to challenge himself to think outside of the box between every brand that he's working with and look for unique ways to elevate his business and just make what he's giving the clients more unique. He doesn't want to make the same thing twice, and that's something he really emphasized when I talked to him. And he wants clients to get a unique end product from him. And he just doesn't want it. He doesn't want it to be something where he's just phoning it in when he's working with his clients. Uh, and when it comes to photography, he does even more with experimenting in his free time. And this is what he had to say on that.
on the photography side, it's uh yeah, it's inspiration to try different shots, try different angles, challenge yourself. I think what I've had the most fun with is actually not really client work. It's mostly going for something like artsy, telling a story, going for something that is a little bit outside the box, not necessarily like straight action, but action that tells a story, or the storytelling is mostly my preferred angle in photography.
Trevor has shown how it's important for businesses and entrepreneurs to adapt and be constantly evolving, especially when if they don't, you will be left behind. And Trevor has really tried his best to live by that. In conclusion, I have learned a lot from Trevor. He's been an inspiration in how to conduct myself as a business owner, as well as how to juggle the responsibilities of life with owning a business. He showed me the importance of networking and what role social media plays in that, and how you have to take an active approach in growing your brand and reaching possible clients. He also gave good advice on what resources are necessary for work in the industry and how he went about setting up his resources. I look forward to interacting with Trevor more and learning from his experiences on how to navigate the world of being an entrepreneur in sports media. Thank you.